Good evening and welcome to Mental Health Matters After Hours with me, Dr Audrey Tang. My co-host Judith Crosier, and this is the show where we discuss all things mental health and well-being. Today's show, we welcome Paige Coleman. She is not only Miss Staffordshire in 2024-25, but she's a clinical researcher in child and adolescent mental health. And she's going to be talking to us about some of the things that she's recognised and she's working to improve on over the recent times. Let's head over to the studio. Paige, welcome to Mental Health Matters. It's great to chat with you.
Nice to see you too.
Now, we met at a pageant event, and as you can see, she is UK's National Miss Staffordshire, and you're going into finals very, very soon. But let's start, in fact, with pageants. How are you using your pageant platform to connect with your cause, which is the promotion of fit-for-purpose child and adolescent mental health services?
So, being a mum, children's mental well-being is very, very important to me. And it's something that's very close to my heart and my soul. And as UK National Miss Staffordshire, I've actually been using my platform to create a community project called Mending Minds, which is a campaign dedicated to improving child and adolescents' mental well-being, but with a strong family focus on supporting the families. Now, I am a mum of 4, so there's a lot going on there.
There is.
But I'm also someone who's experienced the, system firsthand. I know exactly how difficult it is to access the support to truly fit your family's needs. And that's why I want to give children and parents the right real life resources that they can use on a daily basis to help themselves, not just advice they can act on.
Yes, I think this is what came through when we were chatting when we first met, because being a mum of 4, that's one thing already. That's a huge responsibility. There's a lot that goes into that. Yeah. And the second thing is access to services. When people say that, they don't necessarily, they just mean, is it available in your area? They don't necessarily mean, do people understand how to use this when you access it? Are they signposted in the right direction? What are some of the issues that you've noticed when it comes to services?
They're very closed off, and through personal experience, my eldest is my niece, and I've got full custody of her, and she needs support. So I've had to jump through, over the last 2 years, ridiculous amount of hurdles, and we're still not there to get the support because medical professionals don't listen as well as they could have. Don't get me wrong, there are amazing ones out there that one just can change be the big difference, but even from the background that I've got with my expertise, I've had battles with the school saying she needs this support, and only now where she's got so severe, they're like, oh yeah, she does need help. So they just need to listen to the parents' concerns.
Yeah, they do, absolutely. Listening is so important. And what's going on there is just everyone is so reactive rather than proactive. So you are also a PhD researcher, and this is your area of research. So what key messages are you highlighting academically as well?
So academically, my PhD research focuses on cycle of neglect in families. Now, this is quite a big avenue, but it's also a very under-researched area. So what I'm looking at is how mental health services can break away blame and turn it more into empowering the families. Many parents today who struggle with their children were never taught coping mechanisms on how to deal with their own emotions. So my key message in my research is to support the parents to support the child. Now, if we want to change the outcomes of our next generation, we need to go deeper, not by just treating the behaviours, but by understanding the histories of what they've gone through.
Yes, and again, that comes back to listening to parents, and actually when they're talking about their background, is picking up the nuances and what's going on there. And so that really brings me to my next question of mental health services. We've already talked about how they're very closed off. We've already talked about how there are some, nuances that parents don't know how to navigate. But I think there's also an intention in there. I think if the intention is to help, it makes a much bigger difference. But the intention seems to be to fight fires. So what is good in your experience in terms of services, and what needs to be done better still?
So God, there's so much good, because there's so many people who want to help, but because the NHS is so stretched thin, they can't help. They've lost that connection to realizing that there's a human behind the patient and behind the paperwork. So it's, to be honest, there's still so many barriers. There's long waiting lists, unclear language, and systems that don't make availability for parents to feel vulnerable and to trust their medical professionals. So what we could do better is as medical professionals throughout the NHS, is not just ask what's wrong with this child, what's going on, is what's happened to this family, where can we help, what can we do better? Because there's not that support there.
Yeah, it's what's happened to this family.
Yeah, that's such a good point. A better question, isn't it? That's really,
and
really
it
important.
stops the family feeling attacked. Like as a parent myself, like I've been through situations where I've been judged for going to the doctors with how I look. Like, you don't go to the doctors looking glamorous, do you? Come on.
That's outrageous.
I've gone to the doctors a few times myself. Like, any mental health professional understands that they go into this job for a reason. Like, we understand what patients are going through. Now, for myself, anxiety along those lines, I understand that, and I go to the doctors to try ask for help, and if I've gone in looking glamorous, I'm less likely to get help. But if I've gone in looking in trackies, baggy top, they're more likely to help, because they think, well, you look fine. It's called masking.
It is, and the interesting thing, and I'm glad you have pointed this out, is if you've gone in and you have gone to a doctor, you've glammed up, you've put makeup, sometimes that's the only way you're going to be able to leave the house.
Absolutely.
Sometimes
face other people.
Yes. And so much of that is already, to me, screaming that this person needs help.
Yes, exactly. And yet you get judged for doing that. It's just crazy.
Yeah. And there's more that they judge you on. It's like, for example, I'm a young mum, so I'm 27 now, obviously 4 children. When I first was going to the doctors, because let's say my little one had a chest infection or something along those lines, and I wasn't wearing my wedding band or something silly like that, they wouldn't get the same help. Now, I've gone again and I've worn my wedding band, and I've tested this over 7 years. So I've got a bit of statistics to back me up. But I've tested this for 7 years. When I wear my wedding band, I actually get more support from my children.
Wow.
And the time when I haven't, my child has actually ended up the next day in the hospital because they couldn't breathe.
Oh, gosh.
That's,
unconscious
it's shocking,
bias.
really, isn't it? Yes,
It's
exactly.
the unconscious bias. They don't mean to do it, but you're automatically judged on your appearance and how you look and how you present yourself.
Absolutely.
Too much judgment, full stop.
Yeah.
So, given that young people do experience many issues, how do you feel that society contributes to those issues, and what can we do about it?
Very good question.
Question.
Very big question. There's so much pressure on young people today. Like, you've got social media, they've got exams, body image, identity.
Huge one, yeah.
They're expected to grow up fast, but somehow still be a child. Many of them don't feel like they have a safe space, and society often overlooks through kids through a critical lens. Like, you should be good, you should be acting like this, you shouldn't be being naughty. But they see naughty before they see anxious. They see withdrawn before they see if a child is hurting. So the best thing we can do is create a space where young people feel safe. That can be either at school, at home, in community spaces. So being able to be that adult that will listen and not jump in and fix. And now, as a parent, we're hardwired into fixing all our kids' issues. We want them the best life possible. But sometimes to build that connection with your child, is you can't jump in and fix their issues. You just need to be that voice, be that person there for them, and create that safe area for them to grow and be functioning adults in the future.
That's true.
Yeah, it's a really good point. So what are other things that we can do as adults to make an immediate difference when we see something wrong with our children, or if we're teachers in our students?
Yeah. So sometimes the most powerful thing we can do is simply say, I've noticed you've not been yourself. I'm here for you. Now, that sentence to a child, if they're your student, to your child as they're your little ones, it's not about having the answers, it's about creating that safe space and connection for them. So knowing that they could come out and tell you how they feel. So, and it's very important as parents and as teachers that they control their own emotions. So if a child sees us managing stress in a healthy way, they'll see it's okay to have big feelings and this is how I deal with it. I've spoke to a lot of parents that say, I won't cry in front of my child because I don't want them to feel sad. How are they supposed to understand that it's okay to be sad and this is how you control your emotion? Yeah. So good to be honest and open with your feelings. I'm not saying go shout at your child and do things like that. I'm saying be honest with how you deal with your emotions. If you're going to cry, cry and come back round. Show them how you deal with it. Do your breathing techniques. They will learn. Monkey see, monkey do. Yeah. They will learn from you. And by helping them with that, this is what we could. It's the best way to create that safe space by validating their feelings and not brushing off their worries and their big impacts.
Yeah,
that's really important as well.
Huge. And you're actually the second practitioner we've had recently on the show to talk about how safe spaces and listening is so important. You're staying with us, Paige. We will be back just after this.
Let's talk about how the words you use, especially with yourself, shape your reality. Your brain does not handle negative phrases very well. When you say, I don't want to be anxious, it still zeroes in on anxiety. That becomes your focus. It's like giving directions to a cab driver by saying, I don't want to go to the airport. It's vague and not helpful. The driver still needs to know where you do want to go. Your brain is the same. It needs clear, positive direction. So instead of, I won't be late, try, I'll be on time. Instead of, I'm not good at this, try, I'm learning and improving. That simple shift helps you focus on where you're going, not what you're avoiding. Speak clearly, speak kindly, and point yourself in the direction you actually want to go.
Our passion for coffee goes way beyond the cup. We believe in a fair production chain in which each coffee farmer plays an essential role. We are proud to support our communities and promote environmental sustainability. Bedford Coffee Roasters guarantees an exceptional experience for producers and consumers. Join us on our journey to extraordinary coffee, where quality, sustainability and fairness come together to create an experience unlike any other. Ground with passion, served with pride, Bedford Coffee Roasters, coffee worth drinking.
Greetings, I'm Angel Marie Monticelli, host of Energize You TV, every Thursday at 11 a.m. Pacific Time. Go to Fresh Takes right here on E360 and get Reiki-fied and energized today.
Now, Paige, you shared an experience with us about wearing your wedding band, not wearing your wedding band, and you've been treated differently, which is outrageous, actually. It's outrageous. And you're not the first practitioner to say practitioners need to change. There's some kind of, whether it's an unconscious bias, whether it's a willful ignorance, whether it's just simply they're overworked and don't have time to listen or do what they need to do, there is something going on. Have you recognized any other behaviors or identified anything that could change in the system to make practitioners more approachable, I guess?
I think being human, like the amount of times let's say I've gone to the doctors and they don't give you, oh, I am a human kind of thing. They're like, you're just a piece of paper. I'm just off my list and then you're gone. There's so much that can be done just by creating that bond, that safe space for an adult, for a child, for anyone. And as a practitioner, the way we can do that is not just ask, what's brought you here today? Not, how can I help you? It's, all right, so how can how can I help with what you're feeling today, or what's to me today, and or something silly like I'm a bit of a silly one. So every time someone comes into me, I pick something. I was like, I really like your shoes, or what a beautiful necklace, because it's being, oh God, this person's human. That they like something about me, and it automatically helps break that nervousness for the person. So if I say, oh, I really like your shoes, like I'll find something, I'll pick something. I'm like, that cardigan is really cute, and it just also, it helps build that humanity again. And we think you see hundreds of people, but each person deserves the same treatment that you've seen.
You've said something so important there. It's about the visibility and feeling visible when you've gone to that practitioner. And just by pointing out, oh, I like your necklace, oh, your cardigan, it's not superficial. It's actually saying, I see you.
Exactly. That was what was going through my head. They're being seen.
Yes.
And they're being noticed.
Yeah, as someone individual. And I think that's really
brilliant.
important. It's a lovely way of doing it as well. And
it really helps with kids that as well, actually. That really works well with children that I've worked with. It just helps them be like, oh yeah, my mum got me this. It's one of my favourite bracelet or something. And it's like, you've just created that safe space, that opening up.
Yes, you've learnt something about them as well if they carry on that conversation.
Yes, that's true.
So important. And so, given that it's actually quite easy to build a rapport, given that it doesn't seem to take that much effort, it's just having a conversation, where do you think some of that stigma or judgment or just sanitization of behaviour, where do you think that comes from in professionals?
I think it's the fact of how stretched thin they are.
Fair enough.
How much they have to do. It's so easy, let's say someone's been on the job for 20 years, 30 years. It's so easy for them to just forget about the person and be like, this, I'm just here to get my pay, go home, and I'm done. A lot of professionals have got to that point, and that could be because of the pay, the long stretched hours, and also the lack of support for medical professionals. Because working within mental health, medical professionals need help too. I was going to say, they also need to have someone to go to and remind themselves what I am doing, why I am doing this. And sometimes the why can keep a practitioner on track to helping people.
Yes.
Yeah, it's really important as well. And going back to your experience, you talked about your experience of going to the doctor with and without your wedding ring. How do experiences like that the parent go through impact on children, do you think?
It can have a huge impact on a child, because you go to the doctors with your child. Like, let's be real, some of us can't get childcare. Give you a perfect example. I went to the doctors with my niece, and I wasn't wearing the best outfit in the world. Like, I was tired. She was sick. I go in. They spoke to us, and I was like, okay, this is what's going on. They go, oh right, is everything okay with you? I was like, we're not here for me. We're here for the child. Like, let's talk about the child who's got a massive leg kind of thing. And when we came out of that, my daughter turned around to me and goes, he didn't really care. He didn't listen. He wasn't bothered about what was wrong with me. And she's 7, so she's got an attitude.
But for her to pick up on that at 7.
She's insightful.
Kids can pick up on anything from any age, and kids are very insightful. And when you've got a 2-year-old, they learn from what you do. So, for example, I say to my little boy, shut the door. Now, if the door's left open, he'll make sure it's shut. So, oh, it's so good. We've got cats. But they pick up on every little thing, and people think, oh no, a child's not going to understand what we're talking about. No, they understand a lot.
They do.
Behavior cues, how you hold yourself, how you speak, they know exactly what's going on, and they will learn from that. And with the medical professional side of it, if that's how they're being treated and how they leave, how are they supposed to trust a medical professional?
Yes. And they will see how mum or dad or whoever is being treated in that situation as well. And they will form their own narrative around that. Yeah. That's something I hadn't thought about, actually. It's not just the impact on the parent and how that parent relationship will affect the child, but it's actually, you're spot on. We bring the child with us. How does that observation of that interaction affect the child? That's a huge thing to think about.
Yeah, and I think I can remember as being a young child and going to the doctor with my mum, and my mum would always be very subservient to the GP, and I found that that's how I grew up, being, you know, treating the GP like they're, you know, God almost.
And they aren't always. They don't have all the answers.
No, I mean, obviously I respect them anyway, but it was that subservient sort of attitude she had.
The amount of times I've had to correct doctors. Now, I don't have a medical doctorate like that. I'm not cutting anyone open anytime soon. But my little boy, he had a swollen lump on his neck, and it was really bad. Every time he was crying, it was popping out his neck. We went to the doctors. It was severe. He's 2. I went to hospital because I was like, oh my God, what the hell is this?
Of course, yeah.
Went to the hospital. Doctors come in. Oh, we have no idea what this is. I was like, well, that's reassuring. Thanks for the worry. So I had to sit there for about 4 hours and do my own research, medical research, as we're all trained to do. And I found what it was. The medical professional comes in. I said, could it be this? They go, oh, yeah, it could be.
Oh, my goodness.
Oh, my gosh.
And 4 hours of research.
And is that what it turned out to be?
It was actually.
Wow.
So it's actually very rare in children. That's why it's not ever been seen in under 12 years old before. So,
but that doesn't mean it doesn't happen.
No. And for
they go, well, we didn't think about it because it's never happened. I was like, he's had a spontaneous pneumothorax before. That stuff happens. Like, it doesn't matter your age.
Yeah.
But you would hope that a doctor it might even go through their mind, even if they think, well, I don't know. But to not even have any idea, that's very.
No, and they left us waiting, and I was looking at him, and he's got respiratory issues anyway, and I was like,
yeah,
I need to find out what the thing.
Going to affect everything, isn't it? Oh my gosh.
Wow, stressful experience.
Outrageous.
Yeah. So, also then talking about neurodiversity. If a parent is neurodiverse, how might a doctor's treatment of them then affect the family, or especially if the children are also neurodiverse?
Yeah, so with people who are neurodiverse,
not just me then, stumbling over it.
Human.
We are, exactly.
They make these words hard for a reason, I think. But what we could do is help create that safe space again. Like, let them know that it's okay. That do you need some extra support? How can we help you? Like teachers, kids, and parents, everyone. It's the same thing for everyone. It's so simple to put down to that safe space, that quiet space, movement breaks, and like even in work, school, and with people who are neurodiverse. They just need that extra bit of support. That's not hard to give, and we could do that through creating a safe space for them at work. Give them allowances for extra breaks, like you would a child at school, like to have a little wobble break, like we like to say. But it's just, again, for me, it's just creating that safe space. And I know I've said it like 100 times during this talk today, but that is literally what it is, listening and creating that safe space.
And actually, no, because you're so right, and you can't say it enough, to be honest with you, Paige. So don't worry. And this is not a question that we've planned, but it's just one I wanted to ask out of curiosity more than anything else. Yeah. Sometimes I think that safe space is exactly as you say. It's a wobble break. We know children can have those moments. So how do you support a parent who is so afraid of being judged that they're always suppressing that child, or just, you notice they're about to have a wobble and suddenly they're whisked away, and so it's not helpful. Whereas sort of the rest of us kind of know that's okay. It's going to happen.
That's a good point.
How do you, I guess, teach a parent that a safe space can look like having a wobble?
It's being open and honest about it. So, I mean, a wobble can look like anything for a child and for a parent. Yeah. It could be as simple as losing your keys. That can throw off a whole day.
Yeah.
Oh, yes.
And a lot of people don't understand that, but that comes down to education and training. Yeah. Not just for teachers, but for parents. I do believe that parents should be given an opportunity to do some sort of mental health training course for themselves, because when you're pregnant and you're having a child, and let's say you are neurodiverse, there's no support. Unless something goes wrong, there is no support. Unless you claw your way through to get the support, it's not there. Now, supporting a mum starts from when that baby's in their stomach.
Yeah.
So if you're able to support from that point, help give them the resources they need to help understand what their wobbles may look like, what their wobbles may look like, and identify them to help themselves. It comes down to education and helping and training. And it's not hard. It's hard. You can get free courses to put people on, but the NHS don't supply that information anymore. They don't even do the health back your child anymore. You have to work it out. Yeah.
Oh my goodness.
Wow.
That's really sad, actually. I didn't realise that they were either cutting a lot of what they had offered in the past or just weren't talking about it because they were kind of hoping it's that people are going to just not take it anymore.
Not worry.
No, their parents are left with not a lot of help or support anymore unless they turn around, unless you've got severe mental disabilities, they will offer some sort of support. But if you're, let's say, what most people do with neurodiversity is mask, they won't see it and they'll be like, oh, well, you don't need any help, you look all right.
Yeah. And then the masking makes it worse because that's when you get worried about being judged because your child is going to do, and it's this vicious cycle.
Yeah.
And I think even when you're not neurodiverse, if the help isn't obviously out there, you feel ashamed if you're having to ask for help. And again, it's that changing the stigma around it and just talking more. Paige, we're keeping you with us and we'll be back just after this. A world without the arts is one without confidence, creativity and community, and yet funding has been reduced every year. Arts programmes have been shown to benefit social inclusion and well-being, particularly for marginalised groups, with projects fostering a sense of belonging, cultivating mutual understanding, and breaking down social barriers and isolation. Participation in arts programmes can help boost confidence and open doors to opportunities that may otherwise be inaccessible. Click Arts Foundation offers grants up to £2,000 for grassroots arts projects twice a year, with our community arts experience trustees meticulously scoring each project on impact and sustainability. To date, we have supported craft and visual arts projects, dance, drumming for well-being, and preservation of heritage and culture. If you share our passion, not just for maintaining the arts themselves, but contributing to the many benefits it can bring, please consider making a donation to Click Arts Foundation registered charity.
Emotions are contagious. We've all felt it. You walk into a room and someone's in a foul mood. They don't have to say much. You feel the tension in the air. One person's bad energy can bring the whole room down. That's what we call a chain reaction. But here's the thing, it goes both ways. Just like negativity spreads, so does kindness, enthusiasm, a smile, patience, laughter. The way you show up in a space has the power to shape how others feel too. So the next time you notice someone being pessimistic, grumpy, or just plain toxic, take a breath. And instead of absorbing that energy, make the conscious choice to shift it. Be the person who interrupts the chain with warmth, with calm, with kindness. Not because you're ignoring the bad, but because you're choosing not to add to it. We don't always realize it, but we influence every space we enter. So ask yourself, what kind of chain reaction do I want to start today?
Welcome back to Mental Health Matters After Hours. We're talking with Paige Coleman. We're talking about child and adolescent mental health. And this is something that she's very, very passionate about, taking a clinical PhD at the moment in this area. And we've been talking about some of the issues parents face, what we can do about it. And one of the key things is it just comes down to listening and treating people like human beings, which I think it's such a simple thing.
Exactly.
And yet it's still problematic for people. Now, let's go back to talking about neurodiversity. That term is getting a bit saturated. There's a lot of people self-diagnosing, and that can actually hinder when somebody needs to come forward and somebody needs that diagnosis. So let's talk about the formal diagnosis and how it can be helpful and how to start that process of getting one, because it's quite an arduous process, isn't it?
It's a very long process, and this point of it being saturated is actually very important because so many people think they have it when they could not have it, but then there are people that won't come forward. So self-diagnosis can be the start of someone understanding themselves better.
True.
Now, it can also be very confusing for the person who's neurodiverse or someone who's neurodiverse. Now, a formal diagnosis doesn't just give you a label. It gives you the language to understand your needs and your pathway to get better support.
Yeah.
Now, once you've got your formal diagnosis, the reason it's important is because it can open doors for learning support during school, therapy if needed, and legal rights in education or the workplace. Now, it gives you more than just that little bit of help. It actually gives you permission to stop blaming themselves and to start finding solutions, because a lot of people think, why am I acting like this way? It's my fault. No, it's not. By a formal diagnosis, you can understand yourself better. And a lot of people, when they get a formal diagnosis, they research their condition better to get more of an understanding of who they are. Now, that being said, the process of getting this diagnosis can be long, and especially in the NHS, but there are a lot of steps a person can take to get their diagnosis, from speaking to their GP to keeping notes of their behavioural patterns and asking for referrals. Now, if you go to the GP and they say, oh no, we're not going to refer you, demand the referral, because your waiting lists are long. They go, you don't need it yet. No, demand the referral, track your symptoms. So by the time you've got your referral, you've got everything they need. And tracking the symptoms are very, very important. Even if it's something as simple as you've lost something that day and how it's made you feel, a thought journal, everything like that, tracking it all down, dates, how you've been feeling, basically means when you go for that formal diagnosis, they can't turn you away. Because the first thing they'll be is write a journal to see how you get on. Done that.
Yes,
very good point.
That could be another 6 months otherwise, couldn't it?
Yeah.
100%.
Great
And
advice.
schools can also help with this, like with children. And they can also be writing journals of the kids at school, as well as helping with assessments in schools. They can get EHCPs involved and things along those lines. And it's not saying no, taking no for an answer as a parent, as a medical professional. Ask the school, tell the school they need to do this. And then if they say no, ask why. Why won't you give me this referral? Why won't you allow me to do this? And if they keep shutting you down at every avenue, there are options of going private. And sometimes once you've got that private diagnosis, go back to the NHS and get your treatment.
Yeah. Yes. And we've talked about examples like this where I'm my own personal example was it's a silly one. It was just getting an iron diagnosis. So I went to the doctor. They wouldn't send me for blood tests. I ended up having a private one because of my work at the time allowed me to do that. Showed really low iron levels. Took it back, and the GP was like, "Oh no, we have to give you our own tests." But at least they sent me for tests.
I had the same issue with my heart condition. I kept being told it was anxiety, that my heart was going from 70 to 190 from standing. I was like, I don't know what type of anxiety does that, but I doubt it. And I had to go privately to track my heart rate. I think it was about 3 months got heart rate results for. Took it back to the NHS. Like, oh, yeah, you got POTS.
Oh, my word.
Oops, I was fainting. This is support.
Yeah.
Yeah,
And that's actually, again, why there is a problem with too much emphasis on it being anxiety, or because then we might overlook an actual medical
physical reason. Exactly.
Yeah.
There's so many conditions that can get overlooked, and it's so easy as a woman as well to get misdiagnosed. So if you have things along those lines, a doctor will be like, "Oh, it's just a bad period. You're just being over anxious about it." How's your depression? You're like, no. I'm here because of this. Like, let's talk about this issue. Let's not talk about the other issue. We'll come back to that later.
Yes. Yes, that's so true. This is a conversation we have a lot on this show about how we as women actually do need to be extra assertive and sort of ask for that second opinion and so on. Oh my goodness, this is refreshing. It's a lovely conversation, Paige. So what is next in your campaign for your focus academically as well as UK's National Miss Staffordshire?
So academically, I'm hoping to continue my research, get as many PhDs and degrees as I can to help as many people as possible. But my journey with my community project Mending Minds is just getting started. And as UK National Miss Staffordshire, I continue visiting schools and helping children understand how to control their emotions from a young age, because giving them the tools early can help them long term. Now, I've scheduled these talks for different age groups, so from reception to year 11 to specialise in SEND groups along those lines. So it's about visiting the communities, visiting the children, starting real conversations about families' mental health, and obviously age appropriate. I've also created workshops for parents in the local community and professionals. And I'm also creating easy to read resources for families who feel overwhelmed. So with the professionals, I've actually started creating a extra course for teachers they could do at home or on their spare time for free, to understand children and understand why they are acting a certain way. There's so many teachers that are like, oh, I think this child's got autism. In reality, they've got glue ear. And they're not getting the support they need. And it's help them get their support, understand their feelings and what to look for. And I'm academically, obviously, I'm going to continue my work with breaking the cycle of neglect, because I think that's such an important area to focus on in our local area. But my dream is to create a system where there's less fighting and more helping hand from our local community, but where families feel supported early on. And this can change so much for the child, but not just for them, but for our next generation.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
This is amazing.
Absolutely.
You're very inspirational. It's been a great chat, and I think the future of our population's mental health is in really safe hands with you. You know, I just think this is great. And where can we learn more about you?
So I'm plastered all over social media, you know, everyone my age is. So I do have my Instagram, Mending Minds, but I have my personal Instagram page, Paige Coleman, where I share real stories, tips, and free tools to help families and schools if they're interested. You can also find me now on YouTube at the Colemans, R4Y, because I've actually started a family vlog. Now, this is to show the truth behind being a parent, the fun, the chaos, the mess behind being a mum and a mental health advocate. So that's literally where you can find me. But honestly, I'm happy to connect with anyone at any time, whether it's needing parenting advice, a school looking for support, or someone needing to vent their own lived experiences. I believe that we should be lifting each other up and supporting each other. And healing, I love this quote, always comes to me. Healing doesn't happen in isolation. It happens in connection. And that's what I'm here for, to connect, to listen, and to help mend minds at one conversation at a time.
Oh, yes, absolutely. And it is just keeping it real. And that's just amazing. Paige, thank you so much. And we hope to see you again on the show soon.
Yeah,
thank you.
Thank you.
For today's Test the Trend, or this week's Test the Trend challenge, I'd like you to think about some of the ways we can help others manage their actions and behaviours so they don't get in trouble. Now, what I mean by this is, as a teacher, we were introduced to things like wobble cushions and jewellery and fiddle toys. And these are things that young children were using to stop them getting into trouble. If you were sitting on a wobbly cushion, because you were on that cushion trying to stay balanced, you weren't in trouble for fidgeting. And similarly, if you were given a fidget toy to play with, again, if you were fiddling with it, you didn't get in trouble for fiddling with it. And I really like those ideas and have taken them to my adult training sessions, and they have been really helpful. So when it comes to managing behaviours, don't just think, oh, well, tell that behaviour off, tell people to just sit still and not be natural. You might find ways of actually managing that behaviour and those actions by giving them something healthy and safe to do instead.
Today I want to remind you of something powerful. Whatever thought you have and entertain becomes your reality. The brain is always trying to make sense of the world. And once you believe something, even subconsciously, your mind starts looking for evidence to prove it true. It's like wearing tinted glasses. If you walk around thinking, I'm not good enough, suddenly every neutral situation starts to feel like confirmation. You miss one opportunity and take it as proof that you're failing. But the opposite is also true. If you gently shift your mindset, even just a little, your reality shifts too. Try on a thought like, I'm learning, I'm growing, I'm doing my best. Then setbacks become lessons, mistakes turn into progress. So here's a small practice. Start noticing the thoughts you repeat to yourself. Would you say them to someone you love? And if not, try replacing them with something kinder, something truer. Because your thoughts aren't just thoughts. They are the seeds of your reality.
What a refreshing conversation.
It really was. It was really interesting. And, you know, I really feel like, you know, anyone that goes to see Paige is in really safe hands.
Yeah, it is. It's all about keeping it real, but not in a kind of Instagram way.
No, she's just real down to earth.
Yeah.
You know.
I love that. I loved her point about going to the doctor. Let's be honest, you take your kids with you because you can't get childcare. Of course you do. Of course you do. And yet that's because I don't have kids. That's not something I naturally think of. And I can imagine there'll be a lot of practitioners out there thinking, oh, well, mum's ill, so why have you brought the child? You know, can't you get child?
Yes, probably.
No, she can't.
No, in the real world, you're not going to pay for someone to watch your child while you go to the doctor, are you?
You know, and so there is something in not only keeping it real, but keeping it real with things as they are today. Not as they were when you first qualified as a GP kind of thing.
Yeah, that's a really good point as well. Yeah.
She's brilliant. What bits resonated with you?
So much. There was so much to take from that conversation. But I think it's something that Paige said herself that she had said a lot. But it really is as simple as providing a safe space for somebody to open up, because I think sometimes a lot of people struggle with their mental health when they feel kind of trapped inside their own head. So if, especially a child, but not just a child, anybody, if they've got somebody that is willing to listen to them, just listen for them to offload some. And it really is sometimes a problem shared is a problem halved, or it's at least it's the beginning of trying to find a solution to whatever problem's going on.
And the other thing sort of relating to that I picked up is how insightful kids are.
Yes.
And how much they will see,
Yeah.
even if you don't think they're seeing it. So even if you're trying to cover up their behaviour because it's problematic for you, you're worried about, that in itself will start the creation of a narrative.
Yeah, absolutely.
And I never really thought about it in that way.
Yeah, children pick up on so much from such a young age. It's absolutely incredible, really, what they take in and what they're aware of, and therefore how that makes them feel, and therefore how they perceive the world, I think. And then that changes the way they might grow up.
Interact, yeah,
Exactly.
absolutely. So it's not just the one-on-one conversational explanation afterwards, and even if you do give an explanation, they may well have made up their own story first.
Yeah.
There's a lot in there, and you're right. I think the future is in safe hands, and it's really important there's practitioners out there saying, right, what am I experiencing that isn't right? How can I make it right for people like me? You know, and that's exactly what needs to happen.
Yes, she's great.
She's well, we come to the end of another Mental Health Matters After Hours, and we wish you a very good night.